like Da Vinci. Came up from them gutter with a shop is complimentary. How'd I get this far? Sometimes it's hard to put it simply. Things you'll only learn when you watch the documentary. I ain't never been a wrestler.
He always training for something like this. Obviously, smaller guy. How was this in the training aspect, Jake?
Yeah, just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know. He laughing.
What are you talking about?
What
does he have to do with this?
Let anything. You know what I'm talking about. Let anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't gotta say it up here. Let anything happen, and I'm gonna show you and him. Bet.
He always training for something like this. Obviously, smaller guy. How was this in the training aspect, Jake?
Yeah, just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know. He laughing.
What are you talking about?
What
does he have to do with this?
Let anything. You know what I'm talking about. Let anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't gotta say it up here. Let anything happen, and I'm gonna show you and him. Bet. Nothing.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis has fans buzzing. Jake brings energy and the hunger to prove himself, while Gervonta comes in with raw power and sharp skills. With the hype reaching UFC levels, people can't stop debating the outcome. Everyone wants to know who will take control in the ring and leave as the clear winner.
I'm going to show how good I am. You know, this is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter that I'm going to outbox.
He said he gonna outbox me. Whoop-de-doo. Say that.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse, and now he wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it, so.
George Groves looked at the fight in a very matter-of-fact way. He spoke about how getting the chance to fight Jake Paul feels like hitting the lottery since so many people wanted that matchup. But what really caught attention was the way he questioned why this fight actually came together, hinting at more to it than just luck. He also gave his view on Jake's boxing style. His words carried that feeling of there being a gap between how Jake appears and how he performs under true pressure.
I think he's hit the lottery, isn't he? Everyone wanted that ticket, didn't they, to fight Jake Paul? He's got it. Why has he got it? Probably because he's half the size of Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a very good sort of white collar-esque boxer. He looks good on the pads a bit, you know, but there's levels to this game. I think ultimately, when you add it all up, Jake Paul is good for boxing.
Teofimo Lopez expressed excitement for both fighters, stating that the matchup will bring attention and money to the sport. He called it what it is, an exhibition, pointing out the huge gap between a heavyweight-sized fighter like Jake and someone of Gervonta's size. He even compared it to those wild entertainment-style matchups that blur the line between competition and show.
A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
When asked for his prediction, Lopez didn't pin it down to a clear winner. Instead, he stressed how unpredictable it feels, since Jake has size and basic skills, while Gervonta relies on speed and sharpness. He reminded us that with these kinds of events, events, anything can happen, which leaves the outcome wide open.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction, a show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
A competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know. But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens. You know, we expected Mike Tyson to do something, didn't go out that way. Jake Paul's training very hard.
Dana White spoke about the fight on Logan's podcast by pointing straight at the size difference. He reminded how Logan looked massive against Floyd and said this matchup with Gervonta feels similar, only this time Jake can use his weight to lean on him and make it rough inside. What stood out was how he warned that Gervonta hits a lot harder than Floyd.
He's going to fight Gervonta Davis. It's like when you
who do you got?
You guys need to fight guys your same size. You know what I mean? When you fought Floyd, you are massive. You're a massive dude. Floyd's tiny. And I'm sure when you were training, you're like, all right, I'm going to hit this guy with a couple punches and grab him, tie him up. And he did hit you with a bomb of an overhand right one time. And you ate it. You ate that punch. And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up.
Teddy Atlas began by delving into history, recalling instances when smaller fighters defeated larger men at catchweights. He admitted those old matchups came to mind, but stressed this situation feels more like a money grab than real competition.
Back in the day, I love the 1800s, 1700s, my friend out there, 1700s, whatever. But I love the old-time fighters that were catchweights. And there was guys like Sam Langford. I know Sam Langford shouldn't even be comparing him with this because he's so special. But, I mean, where Sam Langford beat heavyweights. He fought from lightweight to heavyweight and beat heavyweights. I mean, back in the day when you had a lot of great fighters fighting each other in catchweights, you did have some smaller guys fight bigger guys, and you had them. You had success in spots. So I'm half with tongue in cheek, but I'm half serious because I've been in the boxing business 50 years. If anything's sold, it would be this.
What really caught his attention was the possibility of Tank landing clean. He repeated the idea of what if more than once, asking what happens if one of the sport's hardest punchers cracks Jake on the chin. For Atlas, that question alone is what makes fans tune in.
What if Tank Davis, who can punch, who is a hell of a fighter, who is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, what if he lands a punch on this bigger guy's chin, right, who's not a professional fighter? What happens? What happens? That's what would sell it. I know the size difference is what creates the problem. The optics, the look, the reality. I mean, you got one guy who's fights at 135 pounds, and you got another guy who fights at 200. I mean, just that alone, yeah. But you also, and I'm not saying I want this or I like this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin?
He also connected this to Logan Paul's exhibition with Mayweather, saying the size difference back then allowed the fight to happen, even if the quality wasn't excellent. Atlas admitted he didn't enjoy that matchup either, but said the same logic is at play here.
And thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either. I mean, first of all, Mayweather was past his prime. He was already retired. He was older, everything, but he's still the great Mayweather. And Mayweather was fighting a guy, what was it, 50-pound difference, 60-pound difference, whatever it was. And that size made a difference. It allowed Jake Paul's brother to be in there and be able to last with a smaller man, a smaller, older, greater fighter who's mostly was concentrating on defense more than just offense. So, yeah, it's kind of like we've seen this already in that version of it, and we didn't really...
Finally, Atlas circled back to the money side. He said when huge paydays are offered, fighters will always consider them, even if fans see it as hurting the sport. In his view, the hype relies on that single question. Can the smaller champion catch the bigger man clean?
But I'll leave you with one thing. What if? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to say that. What if? What if he jumps up in the air? And again, look, we could do this, we could do that. We're not knocking. We're pointing stuff out. But if the money's there and someone's going to pay someone to fight a fight that in their mind is not dangerous, Tank's looking at it like I'm getting paid all kinds of money to fight this exhibition with a guy who's not, even though he's big, he's not a top profile. Man, how can I say no? How do you look a gift horse in the eye? How do you walk away from it? And so in that way, you kind of understand, like, you're going to throw money at these guys like that. You understand the money part, but you understand the part you put out there, that the fans put out there, that they don't, it takes away in their mind from the integrity of the sport.
Aid Oladipo doesn't just see this matchup as another circus fight. He's weighing the risks, especially for Gervonta. When you're at the very top of your division, every decision is magnified. Aid hints that this could be a dangerous move, not because of Jake's skill set alone, but because of what it says about where Tank's head is at. It raises that question: why take an exhibition when there are so many legacy fights still on the table? From Aid's perspective, this feels out of place. Exhibition fights usually come at the end of a fighter's career, when the serious battles are behind them. Seeing someone in their prime step into this kind of matchup makes him pause. It's like the rules of boxing are being rewritten in real time, and Aid leaves it open-ended on whether that's a good or bad thing.
Gervonta Davis, I wanted and still do want to see him in so many more fights. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. These exhibition things are, like, really and truly, they should all be when your career's done. Like, when you think of Floyd versus Logan Paul, it's done, right? Floyd versus Conor, did he have one more after? Was that it? I can't even remember. But it was right at the end. It was done right at the end, even if it wasn't, right at the end. These guys having these exhibition fights in between what is the peak of their career is kind of weird for me. Very, very weird.
And then there's the size gap. 80's been around both men, so he paints a clear picture without spelling out every detail. One guy is a natural 215-pounder, the other a 135-pounder who maybe walks around at 155. Aid makes you sit with that image. You don't need every stat to feel the imbalance. It's evident once you picture them side by side.
And then it isn't even comparable to Ngannou Fury, because at least these guys were the same size. Like, Jake Paul is a 215, 220-pound guy. I don't know what he walks around at. Gervonta fights at 135. I'm guessing he walks around about 155. Like, what? Like, Jake Paul, I've been around him. I'm 5'11". I'd say he's 6'1". Gervonta, I've been around him. I'd say he's 5'4", 5'5", max. And you know, a lot of these guys wear those big fucking heels.
But here's where Aid's prediction sharpens. He doesn't frame it as a mismatch in the way some people do. He actually flips it. This could be Jake's hardest test yet, even with the size advantage, because skill levels don't cancel out just because the scales don't match. Aid lets that idea hang, almost challenging viewers to think twice before dismissing Jake's chances.
Exhibition, you don't need to sanction it. These guys are going to get it on. I don't know if it's going to be 2-minute rounds. I don't know if it's going to be 8 rounds. I have no idea what this is. But yeah, and by the way, this is no slight on Jake Paul. Jake Paul's been doing it 5 years. Whoever he fights professionally is a bit of a problem, right? This is by far his toughest opponent, regardless of size.
Finally, he circles back to Tank. If Tank is serious about this, what does it say about his future? Aid doesn't outright call it a bad move, but he puts the spotlight on Tank's choices, reminding viewers there are fights like Shakur Stevenson that still haven't happened. The subtext is clear. If this is the path Tank takes, it might reveal more about his mindset than the fight itself ever could.
So this is no dig on Jake Paul. This is me pointing a finger at Gervonta. Saying, dude, like, I mean, you don't want to do this. You clearly don't want to do this anymore, do you? Like, Lamont Roach was a tough fight. You should have ran that back. It's not happening. Shakur Stevenson's been calling you out for I don't know how many years. You get pissed off with people talking about Shakur around you. Like, it's I don't know, man. I find it just...
When it came to Daily Perales, he didn't really buy into the outrage around this matchup. For him, it's simple. If the money's right, any fighter is going to say yes. He sees Tank's move less as a retirement and more like taking a mental break, the kind of pause other greats have taken before coming back.
Blah, blah, this shouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Because if anyone's getting that kind of money chucked at them, anyone's going to do it. Do you know what I mean? If someone chucked me money right now to fight and I'm happy with that check, I'm going to fight. Anyone's going to fight. And I honestly think Gervonta Davis is taking a mental break from professional boxing. I don't think he's retired. I just think he's taking a mental break from the sport. He's been doing it since he could walk, you know? It's a bit like when Floyd Mayweather took 2 years off before then he come back and fought Marquez. He took 2 years off from the sport. So I think he's taken some time away from pro boxing. In the meantime, he can earn ridiculous amounts of money just to go in there and effectively have a sparring match against Jake Paul as it's an exhibition.
And while some might call it an easy payday, Daly thinks there's more to it. He lays out how Tank can turn this into a win without rushing, just like we've seen him do countless times before. High guard, steady pressure, making Jake work until the energy drains out, and then switching gears when the moment's right. Daly even connects it back to fights we've all watched. That Floyd versus McGregor matchup is a clear example he points toward, and it gives you an idea of the kind of approach Tank might use here. The weight difference might look big on paper, but Daly makes you think twice about whether it really matters in the ring. When pressed for a prediction, he doesn't hesitate. He's backing Tank, but he doesn't spoil every detail. Instead, he leaves just enough room for curiosity, hinting that the fight may blur the line between a sparring session and a real contest, keeping fans second guessing until it actually happens. When Tank's coaches were asked about the fight, they didn't make it sound complicated. To them, it's just another exhibition. They've seen legends step in the ring for these kinds of events before, and it never took away from their careers. For them, Tank doing this isn't strange, it's entertainment, and the fans will tune in regardless. But when the talk shifted to Jake's size, they didn't ignore it. They admitted the differences there, yet reminded everyone that Tank has sparred bigger men before and held his own. In their eyes, it won't just be a blow-for-blow type of match. They expect Tank to lean on his skill, keep things smart, and still deliver something that excites the crowd. And when the knockout question came up, they left it open. Could it happen? Sure. But instead of promising anything, they kept the focus on giving fans a show, saying if it happens, it happens. What mattered most to them was that Tank handles his business here and then gets back to the bigger fights that are waiting for him. Both fighters are gearing up for this fight, and predictions are all over the place right now. Nobody really knows which way this one will go, and that uncertainty is keeping fans talking non-stop. What do you think? Who wins this anticipated match? Let us know in the comments below.